All right, so next up we got the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, Saints. Definitely a gritty team. Definitely a team that was through some cap hell recently. Just couldn't pay, the players that they wanted. I think they're definitely trying to trend in the direction of we want to get to the point where we can be playoff contenders. I believe this past year they had a chance of that. I do believe that they still have that chance with the talent that's raising. I do believe they're going to have to draft a couple more people, maybe bring a couple more free agents in. Uh, Overall, it's kind of a questionable organization, uh, but at the same time, I think they're kind of on a good trajectory to be really good. But it all comes down to building the talent, building the coaching, the personnel, and the schedule, man. Like at the end of the day, you can have a great improvement on your team, but will the schedule line up on the amount of wins that you're expecting versus how many you're actually going to get? So New Orleans is in a, it's in a weird stage, but I do believe that they have something to feel good about for the fan base. As I mentioned before, New Orleans. Um, I didn't even get to do their records, but they were 9-8, 5-3 at home, 4-5 away, 4-2 in the division, 402 points for, and 327 points against. They were 11th in passing yards with 234.7 passing yards a game, 21st in rushing with 102 and a half yards, ninth in points for with 23.6 points for, and eighth in points against with 19.2 points that they gave up. So now let's look at the roster, man. Another team, three wide receiver, one tight end set. Let's look at the offensive line. First of all, left tackle. The Saints have always been built on some great, great guards, great offensive line in general. So, this is a team that they need to always build the foundation. And I think the foundation of the organization has been the offensive line, and then it's kind of works its way up there. And they got a great draft pick in Fuaga, left tackle coming out of Oregon State. He's looking like he can be a guy. He can definitely be a super impactful player. They're thinking, could we have gotten the next Penny Sewell, at this point? And that's something that they definitely need, and they would like to build on is to build the offensive line to be younger. Um, but yeah, that's a great draft pick for him. At left guard, they're gonna have a veteran in Patrick. Um, yeah, he's been around the league for a while. Definitely, I think will help them in terms of leadership. Playing wise, I don't really know his stats like that, so I will not say he's terrible or not. I just think he's a good veteran presence for him. At center, they got the 10th best center from in my list, Eric McCoy. I mean, he's been a solid choice for a while for them. They drafted him. He's done wonders over here in New Orleans. So Eric McCoy should be happy about where he's at the right guard position. They got a young star in Cesar Ruiz. I think he's going to be really good. Again, they usually tend to get good, great guards, draft guards, or just get someone that's going to be reliable. Cesar Ruiz has been that, and I do believe he'll climb up to being a problem as a right guard in this league. And at right tackle, you got Trevor Penning, who's unproven and he's young, so he's got a lot to learn, but he's still not a terrible tackle. So overall, the offensive line is as young, trying to fight to prove something. If anything, I think they can, and I think they should play angry because they want to prove something, and I think this is the perfect time to prove it. Um, yeah. So who do they have back of them? Well, they got the veteran leader, the guy that has had questionable decisions in the past, but has also been pretty key contributor to Raiders wins and a key contributor to them making the playoffs. And that's Derek Carr. He brings a good leadership to him. His stats are not terrible. I mean, it's not like he is over here throwing 30 plus interceptions, 20 plus interceptions. He is like in a way like the this generation's Alex Smith. I just think he does find ways to win, and it's not the flashiest thing, man, but he gets it done. So he's a warrior. Definitely, he's going to help them out veteran wise. But yeah, you're looking at in the back of him, you got fullback Prentice. Don't know much about him, but that's their fullback. At running back, Alvin Kamara. He's an honorable mention for running backs. I think that's a huge thing for him. I think him coming back being fully healthy will be pretty good for them. Hopefully they have the old Alvin Kamara, and not the injury prone one, because that offense can be dangerous with them there. Um, and then the set of receivers, man, which are young. Well, first you got Chris Olave, who's an honorable mention, rising superstar, definitely can be a top 10 member. A.T. Perry, who is young and very unproven. He just needs more snaps. This is the perfect time to do it. Let's see what he does. And then the really young, fast, speedy Rashid Shaheed, who's again, he's also trying to make a name for himself. Perfect time for that as well. As well as a tight end who also is unproven and is probably wanting his chance, and that's Jawan Johnson. So, it's an offense with a lot of good pieces. They're young, and hopefully they play hungry. Hopefully they play as if they have someone that they need to showcase, and they need to know, hey, I'm in the league now. Like, pay attention to who I am. Um, at the defensive side of the football, it's a 4-3 base defense for them. They're going to have the very young, or the very veteran and future Hall of Famer Cam Jordan with him. He was an honorable mention, very deserving of where he's at. Definitely going to be impactful. He just needs to stay healthy. He could still get 10 sacks a year, definitely. At the D tackle, the first D tackle, it's going to be Shepard, who's young. Not much, people don't really know about him, but a big boy. I think hopefully he can turn into a run stuffer. Same thing with Saunders, big guy, just can hopefully turn into a run stuffer, which they do need that definitely. Um, and it's young D tackles that want to prove something, so this is a great chance to do that. And the other side, DN Carl Granderson had a great year this year. Honorable mention. I mean, I think him and Cam Jordan together healthy, that could be an issue, especially for the division. And it's going to make teams really look out for the pass rush and sacks. I believe his team can have a good sack total, by the end of the year. When you go to the linebackers, you got a young guy in Peter Warner, who's also trying to make a name for himself. Again, he's just young, just trying to get better at his position. Had pretty good stats for the amount of games that he played, and now he's going to be an actual, like, all every day, every snap kind of starter. At the middle linebacker position, Demario Davis, ranked number 7 in inside linebackers, leader, future Hall of Famer, possibly. Does everything so well at his age still. I mean, he's still one of the game wrecking linebackers in the league, and his IQ is incredible, incredible, honestly. So they are going to have a great time. He's going to have a great time. He's going to get his tackles. And then you got the veteran leadership presence of Willie Gay, who's been there, done that, won Super Bowls, been to playoff games, played in some big moments. So that'll be nice for them, just getting some veteran presence, besides the Mario Davis or Derek Carr. Um, so yeah, when you look at that, you go to, in my opinion, the strongest part of their defense, and it's going to be the secondary. You got Paulson Adebo, who is an honorable mention this past year. He had a great year. Really, really good cover guy. Definitely fast. Not afraid to make some tackles. And he's just all around effective. On the other side, they're gonna have Marshawn Lattimore, who was ranked number 10 for the corners in the top 10 list. Yeah, I don't have really, we can try to skip him. It's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore be guarding the best of the best and doing it at such a great, it's such a great success rate of, receivers really not really having a great day against them, and he shuts them down, and that's what you need. And on top of that, you got a nickelback and Alontae Taylor that was, filling in for Marshawn when he was injured, and Alontae's been fantastic as well. Definitely a guy that's able to make some great tackles and some great reads, and he is a good cover corner, man. So him and nickelback, I think, would be fantastic for him. That's super. Like I said, it's a strong suit of them. Um, at the free safety position, you're going to have the veteran Tyron Matthew, who's ranked number 6 in the top 10 list for free safeties. He's all over the football. He's everywhere on the field. You got to know where he's at all times, and he's going to be pretty much mentoring the strong safety, which is Howden, who's again young and unproven, and trying to make a name for himself. Hasn't played many snaps, so it is it is a learning curve for this team. You know, they are having the old and having old veteran players teaching the new young players and trying to make this team into a fearing opponent on Sundays, Thursdays, Mondays, that type of stuff. Um, for the special teams, they got their kicker who's okay, Rupe. They got a rookie punter in Hayball, and their kick return is going to be Shaheed, who is fast. So I think overall this is a good team, and I'm excited to see what they do and how these young players step up in this coming year. So okay, so for the New Orleans schedule for this year, it's going to be rough, honestly, for the first 2 months of the season. And then I'd say in December there's some critical games, and I don't know. New Orleans has such a weirdly tough schedule, honestly. But this is, like I said, a huge stepping stone for their process of how they're going to be as a football team and their youth, as well as the veterans who are still going to keep doing what they keep doing. So this is a super big test for them. You're looking at first week of the season. Carolina's coming to town. I do strongly believe they will beat Carolina. Then they're going to go to Dallas. I do believe Dallas, in the beginning of the season, usually has they are like the juggernaut of the NFL. And so I don't believe that they'll win that game. They'll go back to New Orleans, play Philly. Philly overall has better talent than them. They'll take the loss there. Then they're going to go to Atlanta. I believe that is going to be it's always been a rivalry. I think, I think it might get a little bit more heated this time, especially with Atlanta, gaining so much talent. I think that talent that Atlanta has gained through this offseason will carry them towards winning that game. I think New Orleans loses that game. They go to Kansas City. They lose to Kansas City because it's the Chiefs. Then they come back to New Orleans. I do believe they'll beat the Bucks. They always tend to beat the Bucks at least once a year. Then they'll stay at home, play the Broncos. Denver's not ready. I think New Orleans is just better there. Go to LA, beat the Chargers. I believe the Chargers are decent, but also injuries are a thing. So can they survive a whole month and they could still be healthy enough? I feel like they lost some key pieces there. I think New Orleans is going to prove that they can win some of these games on the road. I think that's a good road win for them. They're going to go to Carolina. They're going to beat Carolina. Then they're going to go back home, play Atlanta. In New Orleans, they'll beat that team there. Play Cleveland and New Orleans. I think Cleveland's just sneaky good. I think they'll win that game. Then they get themselves a bye. They get out of the bye. They got to play the Rams. Rams and Saints are always a pretty good game. It could be close. I still think the Rams are going to do what they do, win a game. Then they're going to go to New York, play the Giants. I do believe they'll beat the Giants for sure. Um, then they come back home, play the Commanders. Jaden Daniels, we'll see by that time. Is he a superstar? Is he a stud? Is he a bust? I don't know. Right now, though, I do believe the Commanders, because of their free agency and their hits on some of these guys that they got this offseason, I think the Commanders will win that game. They'll go to Green Bay, hold Lambeau Field. I think Green Bay's got that game. They'll play the Raiders in New Orleans. They'll lose that game, and they'll close it out with Tampa. In Tampa, they'll lose that game. So overall, it's a lot of losings, then win streaks, then losing streaks. It's inconsistent. That's where I'm at with it because they're just a very inconsistent Sony answer kind of team. Not saying that they're terrible. They're not. But at the end of the day, 7-10 is my record for them. I think they take a step back, but that also like will project them to get higher draft picks. They got to get some draft picks, maybe some free agents if their cap space allows them to do that. And just have some of these younger guys just prove where they're at, that they are made for this, made for the NFL. So overall, the Saints are not a terrible team. They're just not playoff material right now. And 7-10 is a realistic visual of their season. So that's where I'm at.